Do you know that Apple was forced by the EU regulations to allow the USB Type-C across all their Apple devices? Well, it was last year when the EU regulations have been pursuing Apple that they should implement the USB Type-C onto their iPhones, which Apple have been, denying for the past few years, and they were solely subjective towards the Lightning cables. So we all knew that this year Apple released the iPhone 15 lineups with USB Type-C port options. This meant that Apple has drastically changed its design and implemented the USB Type-C instead of the Lightning port. I mean, they weren't very furious at first, but due to the EU regulations, they had to do this. Now, there's another thing which is called sideloading applications, which we have seen in most of the Android phones for the last 15 to 16 years. Turns out Apple is working on a beta program which allows users to sideload applications from third-party app stores into your Apple device. I mean, it feels strange, but this is true. So this was actually discovered by the team at 9to5 Mac, who identified a new public framework which is called as managed app distribution within the beta code. Actually, Apple was forced to do this because of the EU regulations, which have given a deadline to both Android and Apple to open source their app stores by March of 2024. This is a major change in the history of Apple devices because Apple has always been a closed source operating system which doesn't allow other applications to be installed on their proprietary iPhone models or other Apple products. But apart from being a good news, it will be also a major security flaw for the Apple devices. Well, Apple have been bragging a lot about their privacy and security because you cannot meddle up with Apple ecosystem as easily as you can do with the Android ecosystem because there is no developer mode that you can easily access on Apple. But if this thing happens, that if you are able to sideload applications on Apple, it will be a different scenario. Maybe there will be security flaws, maybe there will be privacy concerns. Well, let's see what happens and how will Apple deal with this kind of stuff. I mean, it's gonna be interesting as Apple is opening to the things that it was reluctant to do before, like USB Type-C, now sideloading applications, and who knows, maybe they would in the future allow the micro SD card slots in their iPhone. Imagine, that would be that would be huge and epic. Let's see what happens as we are nearing the deadline of the European Union regulations. If they don't do this, if Apple at the last minute decides to get away from this program, then they have to give 10% of their annual turnover as a fine to the European Unions. I mean, this is a major change as a company which wasn't ready to do things when other people said. Now European Union is actually threatening Apple to do the things which it was reluctant to do. One thing I want to share, that Apple was reluctant to implement USB Type-C at the first place was because Apple was getting cuts from different manufacturers, different people who were making Apple accessories to use that Apple Lightning port, and they were getting $2 to $4 of incentives from those companies, which resulted in a massive turnover of $100 million or maybe more than that. I'm sure it had made Apple, furious that they are now changing towards a global standard of USB Type-C. So this is pretty much it, and this is what I wanted to share with you guys, that soon you will be able to sideload applications on an iPhone. So if you like more tech news like this and maybe more reviews like this, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm keen on uploading on daily basis, and see you soon. Peace out.